We begin tonight with Democrats, including Elizabeth Warren, saying that the strike on Soleimani had little to do with national security and everything to do with impeachment. Watch.
We've known about this for years. Why not a month ago? Why not a month from now? One of the questions I raised just right after this came out is, does this have anything to do with the fact that Donald Trump is right on the eve of an impeachment hearing?
Some Democrats blame President Trump's decision to kill Soleimani for the crash of the Ukrainian airplane that world officials increasingly believe was taken down by an Iranian missile. Watch.
This is yet another example of collateral damage from the actions that have been taken in a provocative way by the President of the United States.
This is one of these consequences of this escalation and this state of war that we are in.
We begin tonight with Republican Congressman Dan Crenshaw from Texas. He's a former Navy SEAL who served in Iraq and Afghanistan, and he sits on the House Homeland Security Committee. Congressman, thank you for being here.
Thanks for having me.
Let me kind of go backwards here with some of the points that we just made, starting with Congresswoman Tulsi Gabbard, who says, this is the collateral damage of the state of war that we are in. What do you say to that?
That doesn't mean anything. What does she mean by that? State of war that we're in? We're not at war with Iran. We're not. The Democrats know that, but they keep using this straw man argument like, don't send us to war. We're not going to war. This president has no intention of going to war. There isn't this false choice between doing nothing and letting ourselves get punched in the face, letting our American citizens die, letting our embassies get attacked, and going to full-scale war. There's options in between, like taking out the guy who's responsible for that attack and reestablishing our deterrence. I'm so tired of these false talking points and this sloganeering that is absolutely meaningless, and she knows it. That's what's so frustrating.
What about those, though, who say, look, it's really too soon to say what happens next, what other attacks could happen, and where we really are in this whole thing?
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, we should never be overly optimistic, but with all the facts that we have now, it does appear like we've reestablished deterrence in a pretty effective way. We've forced the Iranians to recalculate. We've drawn very clear red lines. They're no longer escalating rapidly in violence. I saw that clip from Elizabeth Warren about why now? Okay, Elizabeth Warren, I've got an answer for you. The reason why now is because Soleimani just orchestrated an attack on our embassy, killed an American citizen, and we had very good intel from the CIA, from the DNI, from the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff. They said it was some of the best intel they'd ever seen, that there was an imminent attack coming within days. So, Elizabeth Warren, that is why.
So, I was going to ask you the answer to that, so I'm glad you brought that up. In terms of Jackie Speier, Congresswoman Speier, she suggests that the action that the president took is more the reason for the tragic crash of this jet, 176 people killed, more so than the Iranian missile that the decision was made to send that Iranian missile, or perhaps it was a system that was just seeking anything that was incoming.
That's such a disgusting and deplorable accusation. I'm reluctant to even address it. But we have to, because, they keep saying it. Pete Buttigieg, a presidential candidate, said something similar. The implication was similar, that somehow this is our fault. So this relies on a false premise that history begins with Donald Trump's actions. And the Democrats often believe this. So they don't want to believe that Iran has this long history of escalations, right? They want to believe that Trump started this fight. They don't want to look back in history since 1979. They don't want to look since the JCPOA was signed, since they tested multiple nuclear-capable missiles, since they quadrupled funding to Hezbollah, since they more than doubled their own funding to the IRGC, since they instigated multiple civil wars. The list goes on, and again, killed an American citizen, took down a U.S. drone, boarded U.S. Navy vessels, and orchestrated an attack against our embassy. They want to ignore all that. And when we finally react, when we finally say enough is enough and we're a superpower, we are the United States of America, we will not let this stand, the Democrats wring their hands and look to blame the United States. And when the Iranians make a very tragic mistake, and it is extremely tragic, it really is, that they downed their own airliner, and we know why it happened. But to blame us for that is so absurd and frankly immoral, and they know it. And God, I tell you what, Martha, I'm absolutely sick of this. We shouldn't be this way. We should be unified. Every member of Congress should be calling for free Iran. The Iranian people are are more like us than you realize. The regime is so evil, but these people want freedom. 1,500 of them gave their lives fighting that regime not too long ago. They are not unified against the United States. They are more emboldened now against their regime, and they would be even more emboldened if we would actually act like the freedom-loving people that I know we are and supported them with moral support.
Congressman Dan Crenshaw, thank you very much for being here tonight. Good to have you with us, sir.
Good to be with you, Martha.
Thank you.